few videos ago we established that building working crate mod planes is possible but really hard. So today, let's make it even harder. My first plane was a largish dive bomber with fixed landing gear, but now we're going to be building fighter planes all with the same components as the dive bomber with the addition of retractable landing gear, and the whole thing is going to be smaller. That's right, the winner of the poll is Snoopy's Doghouse, a much smaller but no less deadly plane design. The results of the poll are in, and it's quite clear. The very obvious winner is the P51 Mustang. One thing I've noticed, which is a little bit interesting, although it kind of makes sense, is the results of polls when they are based off of nationalities or they have country-specific options, they actually tend to just reflect the viewership demographics of the channel. You can see here that the top one is the United States, and then the second one is Germany, which tends to go back and forth between the UK, and then Canada and Australia are up there, and the rest of Europe. Makes sense, actually. It makes me wonder if these kinds of polls are redundant, but nevertheless, we are going to be building the P51 Mustang, and possibly more. We'll have to see how things go. I have a few ideas. But this is definitely not the Mustang, this is the Stuka, but we are going to be starting with this. We're going to print this, and what we're going to go do now is look up the dimensions of the P51 Mustang and see how it compares to this. Specifications, here we go. What are the specs of this plane? Let me get out my calculator. Let's see, so the normal length of it is about 10 meters. So if we scale 10 meters by 1.33, so it becomes about 13 blocks long. A wingspan of 11.3 meters. So now the wingspan becomes 15. So that means it's actually smaller than this, which is fascinating. I didn't realize that the Stuka was somewhat significantly larger. So it's 3 blocks shorter. Uh-oh. Here's another one of the ships. So we're gonna have to get creative if we want to make this shorter, especially 3 blocks shorter. Looking at some side profiles of the P51, it looks like I could probably add an extra block here, maybe an extra block here, and it looks like the seat is probably in a different spot, so that might provide some opportunities. I think I have a working design for the core components of this. I even can probably shift the fuel input around if I really need to, but it's pretty compact. Only was I able to make it this compact because I got to move the seat back 1 block compared to the Stuka, so that's good. So now the tricky thing is to try to make retractable landing gear. That's part of why I built that one last time, so that I didn't have to worry about trying to make retractable landing gear. But now it's that time. So let's get going. It's incredible how much faster this is than building the first plane. It sure helps when I don't have to add 10 different mods and research unsuccessfully a million different ways to change the weight. So this thing is already flight worthy, which is nice. It needs some tweaking, and it's still missing a lot of its decorator blocks. But let's take it for a spin. I'll show you what I can do. Strangely, when it has fake wheels, it actually takes off way better than the one with real wheels, mainly because no bouncing happens. So we speed up the propeller a little bit, and it's a little bit annoying. If the propeller's at the maximum speed, you can't use the landing gear because of stress capacities. It's kind of bad. I'm still thinking if I can find a way to get rid of that problem, but if we use the booster to speed up, you see, we just kind of slide along for a little while, no bouncing, and then eventually you can pull up. And now we're in the air, and I can hit that, and we'll retract the landing gear, and we're flying just like that. And now I can speed up the propeller, and you can fly without the booster as well. And yeah, we can shoot these, but they have a tendency to glitch and hit the actual plane. If you were using actual flak rounds or high explosive rounds, it would blow the plane up. All that's left is to build the rest of the decorative part of it, and then check the weight, rebalance it with some wings, maybe drop some weights artificially with the datapack config if I need to, maybe for commonly used aircraft blocks like these things. That was so much faster than building a Stuka. It seems like as far as other weapons go, these things would have small bombs and they would also have rockets. And it almost seems like this rocket pod is the closest from the air war that we would actually be able to use. That would make the most sense, because most of these things are like modern seeming missiles or rockets, not World War II era rockets. And it would have carried multiple of them. And this is like a bunch of small rockets while I watch. So that's pretty cool. What I want to try is shooting it in flight. I have taken a schematic of it in its current version, so it's not a big deal if it blows itself up, which it might. So why don't we give it a try, and then I'll tell you what we're gonna do next. It might immediately blow up. I'll try to point it toward a village. No, it's not. That's actually really cool. That was fun. That worked so much better than I thought. Well, now I need to put another one on the other wing and then add another keybind for the controller. I don't know what I did. I've perfected the design of the P51 as much as it's gonna get perfected while we still have 6 guns on it. Nevertheless, I have 2 further stripped down P51 designs, because there were 4 options in the poll, 3 of which got a lot of the votes, also consistent with the viewership demographics on the channel. The other 2 options were the Supermarine Spitfire and the BF-109. Both of them are actually very similar to each other. That might sound blasphemous to World War II aircraft enthusiasts, but if you actually look at the lengths of them, when you translate them into Minecraft, they're very, very similar size, to the extent that they'd probably be the same number of blocks. Since the first plane was such a fast build, we're gonna build 2 more of them right now, starting with the Spitfire. plane has actually been a lot more challenging to make than it might seem, and certainly more than I expected. Partially because I decided to redo the landing gear system. All of the landing gear equipment was mounted under the wings on the P51, which meant that there was actually way more weight and way more blocks. Whereas this, I actually just put it in one spot and then used a few transmitters. As you can see, we've got the sequence gear shift right here. But the first design was making the landing gear desync, and that was getting messed up by the propeller throttle, until I rearranged it and now it doesn't do that anymore. Which means the wings have way less stuff under them. And part of the problem with the wings in general is that these autocannons, if you have something behind them, especially something fragile, when you're shooting and turning, it can break what's behind it. It actually can shoot out something behind it. So I was forced to rearrange stuff because of that as well, and I can't put wings behind the autocannons because it will literally blow them up. But let's take it for a flight again, so I can show you how it handles now. It does quite well. There we go. Oh, barely missed that. This thing handles quite well, actually. I'm pretty happy with it. Even though it has a shorter, smaller tail than the other ones, it doesn't slide around too much. And as long as the propeller is not at full throttle, the landing gear work just fine. Yeah, and we have guns still. Of course. Not 6 of them, though. That's kind of insane. But now there's one more plane we need to do. We need to do the BF-109, which has an extra challenge because it has a centerline gun. I recently updated Create Big Cannons and I noticed it added a new type of cannon mount. It added a fixed cannon mount. Look at this block. Well, look what it's supposed to do. See, you're supposed to just be able to attach a gun to it. Oh, I can probably do it on the side as well. Ooh. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I literally can just stick one right here. Although it might look strange floating up there. It might actually have to be like this. Womp womp, it's an under propeller cannon. Not on the side, not on the top. It's, the problem is when you're going really fast, the way that that entity spawns, the like projectile entity, it spawns, I don't know, actually kind of back here. By the time it's actually spawned, it's like somewhere around here. And if you're turning or going up or going down, you can just crash into your own shot and then blow it up. You saw that happen quite a few times while I was designing this. And the only way to avoid that is have literally nothing behind it. Not even just in one straight line. I can't even have these links be on either side of it, a block to the side. That aside, I think the aesthetic design for this one turned out really well. These colors go really nicely together. Pretty happy with it. Now we have 3 different fighter planes here that we can build. All of them will be on Patreon. Today, we're probably only going to have the ability to build one, and we're going to build, of course, the P51 Mustang, the one that won the poll. We're back in survival, minus a lot of mods that were redundant or I wasn't using. gonna have to see what ends up getting put back when I release this publicly. I don't want to like ruin a bunch of people's bills if you had a bunch of macaws, something or other, bridges and things like that, or a bunch of corn. I actually removed the corn mod because you can't harvest it with the thing, man, automatically. It's kind of annoying. I don't really know what we need it. But again, I might add some of this back to their public release just for sake of continuity for everybody else. Let's grab some bread. Also, I am trying not to use chicken chunks. I'm trying a new one. I'm trying to use FTB chunks, which has a chunk loading feature. Like here, I can click on this, and then I claim that chunk, and then I can do that, and now it's loaded. I think we want server settings, and then I can change this so we could make like 500 chunks that I can force load. So now I can use this, and this is way better because it allows me to see each individual one and manage it that way. So we might end up sticking with this if it proves to be good. Strangely, minus a lot of performance mods, my actual performance is quite a bit better, specifically frame rate, than in the past. Sometimes less is more. Oh no, did I cut off the landing gear grindstones? You gotta be kidding me. 9 pages once again, would you look at that? But some hard things to make, like rocket boxes. How do we make that? Well, it takes a bunch of rockets, and these are not very inexpensive to make. Well, maybe they are. I guess they're not actually that bad, but it needs titanium, and this isn't automatable. I might have to fix that if we're going to use this a meaningful amount, and I don't have any of it, I don't think. Whatever. So as we did last time, let me get the annoying stuff, and we're going to have to get a bunch of this steel again. And I will be back once it's time to make interesting stuff like rocket pods. Rocket boxes, that's all we have left to make. Oh, we're just missing titanium. Have to go to unloaded chunks because there was a recent-ish mod edition. Where do we think the newest unloaded chunks are? Probably this right here. Oh look, it's right there. That was quick. That was kind of crazy. So I got 7 stacks of titanium total. So we can go ahead and make these. And I like how these are just, it's pure titanium. It's turned into these things. And so the rocket engines are also just like that. So we need 16 of these. 16 rocket engines. We need small explosives. So we're gonna need 8 of these. So we're gonna need 8 pieces of TNT. Do I have some in here? No. That's all back in my terrible storage system. Explosives. Small explosives. And we need activators. That's pretty simple. 16 activators. 16 C8 rockets. And look at that. You can even put it on the ground. But anyway, that's how we make 2 of these rocket pods. And that just goes with the schematic. We started out with 7 stacks. We now have a little under 6 stacks. So it's quite expensive. I should probably, if I'm serious about this, should change some of those recipes so it's a little bit more survival, industrial friendly. But that's everything we need. So let's go build a P51 and give it a test flight. So before I assemble it, let me, of course, remove all of the flaps. Let's give this a shot. Oh yeah. Free blocks. No glitching. Unfortunately, this is still glitching. I should be able to take this controller and just link it to this one and then do that with any plane that I happen to have at any point, and it should just start working then. I should be able to flick this and have the engine start. Yeah. Aha. Propeller is already good to go. I mean, I use the same thing. Flaps. Check. Propeller, check. Guns. With illegal ammo boxes, check. I think we're ready to take off. With the first realistic non-bouncy plane. All right, full speed ahead. Here we go. Oh yeah, now that is a proper runway experience. No bouncing. We should be clear. Well, we should be clear to coast now. Let's drop the propeller speed and attempt to retract the landing gear. Come on, yes! Since we're in an American plane, perhaps I should go visit the oil field across the volcanic mountains and in the desert. What am I doing, guys? I can turn on shaders. We have some compatible shaders. Oh, and I hit the cactus. That doesn't really count. I mean, I didn't face plant, but the wing hit the cactus, and you just have to imagine it blowing up. Although, the plane would probably destroy the cactus, not the other way around. We made it to the oil field. I wonder if I can make it back. I don't know if there's going to be a spot here that is suitable for taking off. I'm so close also to getting the bliss shaders working, the ones that look really good with distant horizons. The only issue is I'm having like some mod compatibilities, which I'm still sorting out, but some of you guys' comments on the last video helped. So we got closer to it working. Or are we literally going to launch into the sunset? Let's do this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, come on, dude. Oh, the game just freaking the stupid chunk loaded and... Gotta try that one more time. There's literally a zombie apocalypse happening like last night. Wow. I can try chunk loading the runway. That helped. That definitely helped. Ooh, we did it! Oh, shoot. We kind of needed to stop. Stop. We don't want to hit the end of the runway, but look at that. We landed. That was the first proper crate mod plane landing on the runway. No bouncing, no crashing, no face planting. Just actually landing. And I think that is where we're going to have to conclude this video. We got 3 types of fighter planes that actually can take off, they can land, they have working landing gear. And next time, we're probably going to be doing more planes. Maybe just not propeller planes. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you did, make sure to drop a like and hit that subscribe button down below. As always, you can find these builds and more on my Patreon if you want to check them out for yourself. But anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your day. I've been Sbeev, and I'll see you guys next time.